Hello, friends. Welcome. Hello, everybody. I can't see how many people we have in here or anything like that, but I'm just going to give you all a chance to pop on. I'll tell you before we get started. We're at about 20 seconds, so you might say who you are and to subscribe and all that. Hello, I am Mel Rose, your astrologer here at Rose Tarot and Energy Services. And you are here for your week ahead in astrology. Plus, we do a regular tarot card reading for this live video as well. Normally, I would be here with my beautiful wife, Jennifer Rose, but she's a little under the weather today, so we're going to give her a break and do this all on our own. Not really on our own. She's sitting right here and managing the chat. And what do you think about? And right here, so the new orientation there. I like the new orientation. Glare on your glasses, pretty good though. How about that? If I look away a little bit. Yeah. Well, it's actually your computer. Yeah, it's the computer screen. So okay. I'm gonna do my best, but all right. Kind of need my glasses. It's over a minute, so get going. Okay, friends. Welcome to Astrology Today. I am your host, Mel Rose, and today is the 7th of September. It is Sunday, and this is your week ahead in astrology, according to Rose Tarot and Astrology. Thank you so much for being here. Please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, press for notifications so that you get notifications every time we come on. We're definitely here on Sunday mornings and on Thursday evenings, and we're going to have an expanding schedule as we expand our business. We just opened or are just now opening a new storefront, so you'll be able to come and visit us in person sometime very soon. Welcome. Like I said, today is the 7th of September, and this past week there was a lot of fluctuating energy in and around us. Okay, so part of that was, like Saturn is retrograde. It backed up into Pisces. And then part of that is that Mercury is moving forward, and it went forward into Virgo, where it's very comfortable. Part of that is that Uranus pulled a lot of energy by stationing and turning retrograde this past week. And then today we have this full moon in Pisces with an eclipse. So this is fluctuating energy. It is surprise energy. It is energy for letting go. Okay, so some certain of us are going to find that we thought life had certain things in store for us. Okay, we thought we had a plan, or we thought we knew how things were going to go in a very measured way going forward. But now the story has changed a little bit. We've had some surprises. We've had some upsets come in, and now is the time to just sort of be discerning, be paying attention to what is essential for us. What is the most important thing to sort of get out of what we're learning from all this fluctuation and change. All right. Discomfort is a part of it. There's no way really to get through this right now without facing some emotional discomfort, maybe some physical discomfort. But it is a time just to be making those small adjustments to the changes, doing what we can to make ourselves more open or more amenable to the changes that are coming along. There are some deeper things going on here, okay, right now with this Pisces full moon that may not get fully resolved just yet, okay? But we're going to make the gradual small changes at this time. We're going to open ourselves up to those changes that involve sort of letting go of what we thought the past had in store for us, letting go of what we thought life had in store for us, so that we can face what is current, what is now, be accepting of what is happening in the present, because this whole year we're on this cusp. The moon in Pisces is highlighting this cusp, okay, between Pisces and Aries, moving back and forth between the end and the beginning, because endings and beginnings are rarely so neat and clean as like, this is the end of this and this is the beginning of this. It's like you end your work day and maybe, sure, you leave your office, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily left everything that bothered you from work or that happened today at work go. it's there's a period of transition where you're going back and you're thinking about it, or you're reminding yourself to take care of something tomorrow before you move on into that next phase. And that's where we are. We're processing, we're looking for solutions, we're looking for ways to accept what has come about and accept what is new and in the future offering for us. Okay, so change has been the name of the game. So that's where we are coming into this week. And today is that full moon in Pisces. So what are you letting go of in terms of what you thought the plan was going forward? What loose ends are you tying up? And how is it that you are turning to face the new things that are coming in, with as big an embrace as possible? So, full moon in Pisces with an eclipse, friends. So eclipse, another very sort of mutable kind of feeling thing. It's really about um, things being changeable. Okay, so especially with the eclipses, and this is the first eclipse of this season, the eclipse vibration is like, yes, something is definitely going to change, and something may actually even surprise you. So with Pisces being the sort of sign for today, with the full moon in Pisces, I just want to remind you that that we want to have an emotion, a sort of emotional calm about us. We want to do our best to maintain emotional calm as these surprises, these upsets, and these changes come through for us at this time. All right. Tomorrow is Monday the 8th, and Monday the 8th, the moon moves on into Aries. But before it does, it meets up with Saturn, and then it clicks over from Pisces into Aries, and then it meets up with Neptune, because Saturn and Aries and Neptune, again, very close together on the chart. Right now, they are currently on one side of that click between Pisces and Aries, and then Neptune on the other, but they are right there close together. And the moon's going to be right there between them, activating that triangle between that Saturn conjunct Neptune, and you've got Pluto on top and Uranus on the bottom. And this has been a sort of eye we have been looking through on and off over the past several months toward the future, that tells us like what is changing, what is fundamental that is changing, what is inevitable that is changing, and then sort of like how do we turn it into an upgrade? How do we turn it into a broader perspective to help us imagine what our lives are going to be in the coming year and in the coming several years to come. So that's very inspiring energy for tomorrow, Monday. Active planning, we're making reservations. Okay, we're nailing things down. We're having communications saying, I'm going to be there at this time, and this is what we're going to do. This is sort of a day, Monday, for stabilizing your plans going forward. And again, there might be a little bit of discomfort involved in this. There's discomfort throughout the week. There's a week full of messages that say this might be uncomfortable, but if you have the conversation, if you make the plan, then you can make the progress that you want to make. So that starts with Monday. And I want to say that throughout this week, starting Monday with that, the day after the full moon, we'll still be in the full of the moon. The moon will be waning. So again, we're in this phase of letting go. We're starting to reflect on things and release as we move forward into our next phase. Tuesday, the 9th, very smooth kind of day, very kind of easy going day. The things that you want to get done, just focus in, pay attention, and let sort of go with the flow. Tuesday, it's almost as though it's like, I feel like I'm very effective today. How far can I go? How much can I get done? Right. So just be careful about overdoing it on Tuesday, out of a sense of like, wow, this is really easy. I can get a lot done. Wednesday, the 10th, the moon is going to have a conjunction with Chiron, which is currently conjuncting Eris in Aries, and then it's going to move on into Taurus. And I just want you to think about this for Wednesday. Don't get stuck thinking that it has to be one way. All right. Like there's only one right way to do this. There's only one right way to have this. There's no negotiating on this. This is the only way it has to be. Okay. We can be a little bit determined, maybe over determined about what we think it is that has to happen a certain way. Or are we, just not seeing the different ways that this can work, right? So just don't get stuck in one way of thinking. Don't get too locked down and determined, or do your best not to get too locked down and determined about things having to be one specific way. It's going to be a little bit of a fiery energy with the moon conjuncting Chiron and Eris, which is Eris is like Aries' little sister. She's sort of discord. She's aggravation. She's just a little bit of a chaos element in there, with Chiron wanting to bring about healing. So it can be, easy to get aggravated and easy to dig your heels in, but that might not be really the way toward the problem solving that you're looking for. So if you feel yourself sort of getting stuck in this, like, no, I won't go, maybe it's time to back off of the conversation at that point. Thursday, the 11th, another day like Tuesday that's very easy to get things done, easy to go with the flow. It's a good day for taking care of yourself and taking care of your needs at home. Then on Friday, Sun is going to sextile Jupiter, and then Mercury is going to sextile Jupiter, and then the next day they're going to have that Sun and Mercury cazimi. So Sun sextiling Jupiter, Mercury sextiling Jupiter this coming Friday on the 12th. It's a very optimistic vibe for Friday, okay? It's like we all have a big hug we want to give the whole world. I want to give everybody in the world a dozen roses on Friday, okay? And it's a great day for having conversations, right? Mercury sextiling Jupiter, that are a big picture, okay? And that clarify our big picture intentions. And also it's a good day, Friday the 12th, to have conversations that get things sort of off of our chests. Okay, lighten up. Let things go. Say, okay, this was bothering me, but now it's not. Or, this is something that has been bothering me, so that we can have a conversation that sort of, when we share it, it expands the conversation, it grows our understanding, and it helps things get better between us and the people we have the conversations with. Okay, so Friday is a great day for a conversation that you've been wanting to have, a boundary that you've been wanting to draw. Remember, a couple days before that, we're feeling like our heels are dug in. By the time we come through Friday, we might be able to see a bigger, better way to do things. Might be able to come with a little bit better sort of compassion and optimism for the collaborations that we're involved in, so that we can have those conversations that go super smooth and super well. Okay, Friday, very optimistic day for planning, very optimistic day for conversations and just discovery, like seeing what comes to light. Mercury and the Sun acting together with Jupiter just really helps us like expand our vision for what is possible in our lives. And I love that for Friday. And then next Saturday on the 13th, that's the day that Jennifer and I are opening our shop in Belton, Missouri. It's called Midwest Woo. Find us online when you can. So Saturday the 13th is the cazimi. It's the Mercury cazimi. So that's the Sun conjuncting Mercury. And again, they're still in that sextile configuration with Jupiter. Another really positive, optimistic day for discovery, for seeing the big picture, for communicating your big picture intentions with other people, and sort of easing the flow of conversation between you and other people. Go with the flow. Reach out to your friends and collaborators on Saturday, the 13th. Make new contacts with people. Okay, go out and shake some hands, meet some new people. That day, also, though, there's a little bit of discomfort, again, built in. Like I said, throughout the week, we've got this sort of, yes, it's positive, we can make some progress, but there's some discomfort and there's some struggle. There might be a little personal stubbornness. There might be a little bit of digging in our heels. There might be a little like, I really don't want to have this conversation. I don't feel like I should have to say this to this other person, right? But really, it's about moving through the discomfort and saying what needs to be said doing what you know needs to be done. And that discomfort is coming from Mars in opposition to that Eris with Chiron. It's a very fiery kind of air feeding fire vibration. So Mars in Libra does want to be fair. We want to make actions that feel fair and balanced to other people. So some of that conflict that we're going to be introduced to throughout the week, but especially coming up for us on Saturday, is a conflict between like how we feel on the inside and how we want to act on the outside, right? And I don't know about you, but sometimes I want to act a lot more sort of brisk and forward, and even maybe a little angry on the outside, but on the inside, all I want is a little bit of healing. I want to resolve the conflict that I feel with the other person. I want to resolve the conflict that I feel within myself. So, we can be a little chomping at the bit next Saturday. We can, but we really want to be fair, and we really want to show up in a healed way. So just pace yourself. Just check yourself. Think the first thought and then think the second thought, and do the compassionate thing, or do your best to do the compassionate thing. There is a lot of potential that day also for positive action and progress, because Venus is moving towards some trines with Chiron and a sextile with Mars. So Venus is sort of creeping in there going, yeah, we can sort of ease up the tension on this situation. We can give a little bit of relief to the situation just by adding a little bit of love and compassion and empathy. Love is the lubrication that makes things go easier between people. So when things feel conflicty, especially next Saturday, when you're trying to make some progress and you know that you can, add a little bit of love, add a little compassion, add a little empathy into the communication that you're trying to have with somebody, and that will make the conversation go smoother. That will help you make the progress that you need to make, okay? And then coming up next Sunday, the moon moves on into Cancer, and then it's going to have all those opening aspects with those planets that are just at the beginning of their signs. It squares Saturn, it moves into Cancer, it squares Neptune, and then it's going to have those other opening aspects with the planets that are early in their signs. But moon going into Cancer next Sunday, that's like coming home. It's like withdrawing a little bit into our bodies and our homes, and just paying attention to self-nurture, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our own, and making sure that we take the sustenance and the care and the nurture that we need next Sunday, the 14th. Now, again, Mars and Libra, we want to be fair. Our actions toward progress may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but that's because we're trying to maintain a balance. We're making sure that we get what we want and what we need, and that other people are getting what they need from the situation as well. And then, Venus at that time is really positioned to take the pressure off of our situation. Again, like I said, by bringing compassion and empathy and love and acceptance into the situation. So at the end of the week, when you're feeling like maybe you can't accept what's going on, or when you're feeling like there is a struggle for somebody else to accept what is going on, the answer is to bring a little love and compassion, to say, hey, I understand why you're holding back on this, or I understand, what it is that, or I think I understand, or I hope I understand, or help me understand what it is that's keeping this conflict in place, so that we can, come to some friendly terms about it. That's going to be especially at the end of the week, but the whole week is going to be like, okay, I'm not necessarily comfortable having this conversation, but if I have this conversation, then we know where we stand with one another, and that makes things easier and more comfortable. Okay. And sometimes it means help me understand. It means asking, for somebody to have a little compassion for you, and having a little compassion for, how hard it is sometimes to say the things that we need to say. Right. So having a little compassion for ourselves and others, but still having sort of those challenging conversations, bringing a little bit of love and compassion to those conversations so things get easier as we go along. We end the week next Sunday at a half moon. Okay, so the moon is waning throughout the week. Again, that's an energy of release, reflect, letting go. And then, the next week after that, on Sunday, not the 14th, but 7 days after that, so the 21st, the Sunday, the 21st, is going to be that new moon in Virgo, the second new moon in Virgo this month, which is a bit of a rarity, and we will get to talk about that next week. So this week, overall vibration, progress as promised, some challenges. It might be a little bit difficult. We might be a little bit difficult. We might dig in our heels, or we might find other people digging in their heels in different places. The answer is always to come with a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion, lubricate the situation by saying, I understand, or I want to understand. I want us to work together to make a good thing happen here. And that should help us make the progress that we need. And if it's getting too hard, and if we find that we're the ones digging in, then it's time to back up, take the pressure off the situation, have a little compassion for yourself and the other people involved before you go back to trying to figure out what the solution to the problem is. Okay, friends, and we're kicking it all off this week with today's full moon in Pisces. With an eclipse, which if you live where I live, you're not going to see the eclipse because that eclipse is happening in the afternoon here in Missouri in the United States, Central Standard Time. So I will not be able to see that lunar eclipse happen, but hopefully some of you will on the other side of the globe. And please let me know if the moon turns red like it's supposed to. All right, I think that's what I have to say about the astrology for this week. I don't see any specific questions about the astrology, so hopefully that came across really clearly. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to switch over to tarot at this point. My show is ass. Well, okay. I'm not going to respond to that. The reset. Okay. So I'm moving on to the astrology portion of our show. And, we do this live astrology reading once a week. We're going to be providing live astrology readings at our new shop here in Missouri. So I'm really looking forward to being able to do that with people face to face again on a more casual basis. And the reading that I'm going to provide today is a 2-card reading. And I'm going to say, because this week really gives us these vibrations of you can make progress, but it's going to be a challenge. So bring some care and love and ease to it. I'm going to say, where do we bring in, where do we find the challenge and where do we find the love? Those are going to be our 2 cards. Okay. Making this up as I go along, but I think that that's going to work for us. Where do we find the challenge this week? Where is the challenge to be met? Change, death, the death card, friends. Okay, the death card does not necessarily mean that anybody is dying, although people do die every day. The death card means that change is inevitable, and that is what I've been trying to tell you, friends. The changes that are coming about right now in our lives on a global scale and on a local scale and even in our personal lives, these changes mostly inevitable. All right. Change comes for everybody. It doesn't matter how hard you try to keep things the same, how well you love your life or your wife. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how royal you are, how pious you are. Change comes for everyone. Okay. So the best thing that we can do is really try our best to embrace it as it comes along. All right. The old has to go so that the new can come in. It's not a bad thing. It can be a little bit of a scary thing, right? But the point is to recognize that change comes for us with a little bit of fear. and to acknowledge that change comes for us with a little bit of fear, and to be accepting of the change in spite of the fear. Okay, because getting fearful and saying no, 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 that change can't happen, we're not going to do it, that's not actually going to work for you. Sorry to say, but it does happen. So that's the struggle part of the change, is is that it's inevitable, and you have to accept it whether or not you really like the fact that it's coming along. All right. And so where can we find the love and the acceptance, the compassion? What's the release point for this struggle that we're having, accepting the fact that change is inevitable? Where do we find the release point for that? Oh, that's interesting. It's the Eight of Pentacles, and it came out upside down or in reverse. So what this tells me, because Eight of Pentacles is about, work on it until you get it right. Okay. And coming out upside down, that doesn't mean necessarily the opposite, but what it means is that we're doing inner work. We're working on ourselves, and we are entering that season of shadow work very soon, that season when it's appropriate to sort of turn within and work on ourselves and reflect and review where we've been over the past several months and how we want to move forward. So this is going to be an inner work thing. This is repetition works on the inside. So you know how it is when you're learning a new skill, and you have to do it over and over. Like they say, it takes 10,000 hours of playing a guitar to become a master guitar player, right? It takes 10,000 hours of doing something to really master that art or that craft. So when it comes to working on ourselves, it's, for example, one thing that I work on a lot for myself is the way I talk to myself. What kind of language I use with myself. I want to be positive. Sometimes I'm not always very positive. So when I catch myself not being positive, when I catch myself, talking to myself like I think I'm stupid or something, I'll go back and correct myself. Okay, but it's not enough to just correct yourself one time. What you have to do is keep correcting yourself. You have to keep catching the thing that you're doing that doesn't work and do the thing that does work instead. Okay. So there are sort of tactics and measures that we take to sort of get better at being who we are, right? To get better at, like, part of the big struggle this weekend is with communication, right? Part of the big struggle this weekend is like, what's challenging is to say the thing that needs to be said so that we can take the actions that are fair and balanced, right? And so one of the things that I know that I'm working on over here is like having those conversations that are challenging, and that means doing the work with myself, saying, okay, yes, you definitely have to have this conversation. You can't put it off. You can't you can't let somebody think something that is not working for you. So that's where this comes in, is a little bit of self-discipline and trying to be consistent and do things the same way and what is the right way over and over and over again. All right. So challenge, change is inevitable. Release from the challenge, be consistent with yourself in your actions and in how you approach things. Okay. That's it. Change is inevitable. Be consistent. And that is our reading for this week, friends. I hope that has been helpful for you. I think it was really helpful for me to catch up with the astrology this morning and to remind myself also that change comes along whether I like it or not. And sometimes we're really in times of big fluctuation where we see big changes coming down the pike. We know that the world is changing. We know there are big transformations afoot. And we also know that there are big sort of upgrades, big new discoveries, big new technologies coming about. So the future, the future is coming, whether we like it or not. We want to keep an eye toward the future. We want to be able to see those changes that are coming and say to ourselves, yes, that is coming. And I am going to have a consistent approach to dealing with each new change as it comes along. A consistent approach that allows me some peace of mind, some peace of heart, and to make the progress that I want to make, right? By making the communications that I want to make and by taking actions that I see and think and hope are fair and balanced. Okay, friends, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for checking in on your regular current astrology. That is the week ahead and the tarot card reading for this week. And I so appreciate you for being here. And I will catch you all in the next video.